So we are 1 month out from the trade deadline. The trade deadline's on March 8th. And I wanted to go over the Toronto Maple Leaf team as it currently stands and give you my perspective as to what I think we would need to be a perfect team going into the playoffs. Let's be honest here, right now, we are far from perfect. Our team over the past few years has been better up until this point. I feel like there's a few holes that we really need to solidify, and I wanted to talk about those. I'm not going to get into specifics as to like trade details or any trade proposals in this specific video. That will be over the next few weeks. I'll really be starting to throw those ones out. But I just wanted to go over how I see our team and what I think we need at the deadline to make a perfect team. Now, if we can get everything, I don't know. It's going to cost a lot. First and foremost, though, the goaltending, I'm keeping it as is. Joseph Woll, Samsonov, Jones, somebody's got to figure it out. I really like Woll, especially once he's healthy. Samsonov has been playing better as of late, but it's such a small sample size. And Jones has just been steady. You know, should still be a third-string goalie. Somebody's got to figure it out. I'm keeping our goaltending as is. Because ultimately, I really believe our defense hasn't been good enough. Our team defense overall hasn't been good enough. Over the past few years, our team defense has actually been pretty good. Our defenders could be upgraded, but our team defense has been okay. This year, our team defense is lacking. It's struggling. We're really missing that shutdown third line that we've been having over the past few years. Over the past few years, we had a decent shutdown third line, but then our fourth line was kind of useless, so there was still no scoring in the bottom six. I think the best version of our third line that I can remember is David Kampf down the middle. We had Mikheyev on the right, and we had Engvall on the left, if I believe. Just a good line. Just all solid players. And they could really complement and help each other out. So we're missing that right now. So in this scenario, I actually put our third line. Our third line has been Domi with Robertson and Yarncroke. I put Domi, Robertson, and Holmberg onto the fourth line as more of an offensive fourth line, just a pairing, a grouping that can be put out there in the offense. So what I really believe we need on our forward is one other forward, kind of like a middle six forward who's very defensively responsible, potentially left winger or a center. I'm happy with either way, either one. I really like Yarncroke, his versatility. He's offensive, he's defensive, he works hard. So if we can get a guy to fill in that third left wing and move David Kampf up into that defensive. I don't care if you want to call like our third and fourth line. I don't care which one's called the third line, which one's called the fourth line. We just have a bottom six. One's an offensive line and one's a defensive line is how I see it. So somebody in that spot. The two really good options, I see Scott Laughton in Philadelphia and I see Boone Jenner from Columbus. Boone Jenner would cost an arm and a leg, but he would be the perfect ad in my mind. Now, in terms of like the biggest holes, so the forward, adding a forward is like a benefit, it would be like a bonus. But what I really believe we need is two defenders. I've been talking about this defensive group all year. We are not big enough. We're not physical enough. We need to have better defensive defensemen. And we also need to generate more offense from our defense. So we actually have quite a few defenders who are pretty good, but they're more depth guys. Like Laguson's been doing good. Benoit's been doing good. Timmins has been in and out, but they're okay. So we have good depth, but we're missing high-end pieces. So I think we're missing two top forward defensemen. I believe we're missing a number two, like a top pair right defenseman. There's not many of those available, or maybe none available, so we might have to work around that. And I believe we're missing like one left defenseman as well to really push this group over the edge. Maybe two right Ds if you decide to move Brody over to the left. So you need two right defensemen in your top four. This is going to cost a lot, of course. So obviously you have Morgan Riley. He's a number one lefty. Really good. Brody, he's been playing on our top pair. He's been playing 22 minutes a game. He's definitely getting overstretched. I want to see him in the second pairing. Benoit and McCabe have been playing very well recently. They're both physical. They're both very intense. They're competitive. So I don't mind that as a third line. We have Giordano and Liljegren as your 7th, 8th defenseman in this option, in this scenario as well. I know Liljegren's getting bumped down. I still believe he'd probably get time. We'll see if he's still with our team. I just don't see very much of what Liljegren's doing. He's just a very average defenseman. He's okay at everything, but he's not overly physical. He's not putting up points. The things that we need in our defense core, I'm looking at Liljegren as a trade piece to move him off to get somebody who's bigger, stronger, and or somebody who can actually help us with some more offense generation and puck moving from our defense. So in terms of different options on right D, you have Adam Larson out of Seattle. I've made a video about him. I think he would be such a great ad. Don't know if he's going to become available. Chris Tanev, I made another video about him as well. Tanev would be a solid addition. I just think he's going to cost too much. So the video that I made was basically saying I hate the idea of getting Tanev. I actually like Tanev, and I think he would really benefit our group. I just assumed at that time that it was going to cost a first and a third, and I was like, I don't want to pay that for a rental who's 34 years old. I'm still in that camp. So if we can get him quite a bit cheaper, I would be happy with that. But it would need to be cheaper than a first-round pick, and I would want him to be extended reasonably. 2 years tops at $3.5 million. But let's be honest here, we have Brad Treliving, who just extended Ryan Reeves for 3 years. So he's going to be like, Chris Tanev, yeah, we'll give you $4 million for 4 years until you're 100 years old. And then we'll just like have a geriatric defenseman. I'm worried about that. So those are a few different options. You have Sean Walker. So we have Sean Walker out of Philadelphia, who could be an option. Philadelphia is doing really well, so we'll see. But they've been in trade talks all year. On lefty, I really like Alexiak. We have Noah Hannafin. You can go Hannafin, Tanev. You can go Hannafin, Larson. We don't have the assets for that, but for all of that. But over the next few weeks, I'll be slowly putting out trade proposals as to what our deadline could look like. I'll make an option that's just like all out. I'll make kind of like a mid option as to like, okay, this is a bit conservative. I'll do like a low end option, and I'll probably even do an option if we were to sell. I feel like there's a 1% chance that the Leafs sell at the deadline. I'll make that deadline proposal as well to see what that would look like, to see everything. But ultimately, we're missing a left winger or a centerman, really defensive-minded in that middle six or potentially bottom six. Top right D and a secondary, like top four defenseman, whether that's on the right or left side, to really push this over the edge. I made another team in terms of cap space. I in this scenario, I just put everybody else down. So I think it was Timmins and Lagesson. I send them down to the minors. McMahon, Noah Gregor, and Reeves I've also sent down. In this scenario, we have a 20-man roster because we still have 6 defensemen and 11 forwards right now with the 3 goalies. And we actually have $4.6 million. Oh, my face is blocking it. We have $4.6 million over here to spend in cap space here. And if like a guy like Liljegren goes out, that would be $6 million that we would have to start acquiring pieces. And of course, when you have salary retention, if there's a Chris Tanev, he's a $4.5 million defenseman, but if Calgary retains half, that's $2.25 million. So we would have quite a bit to add in. We'll see how it goes. So like and subscribe if you stuck around until the end. This is a brand new channel. I just started in November. And I'm hoping to get 1,000 subscribers at some point over the next year, because that's when you actually get monetized on YouTube. Right now, it's just a side hustle. It'll be cool if this starts generating something in time. But I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Comment below what your thoughts are. All of that helps me out and generates a lot of excitement on my end as well. So much love to you. I'm so very appreciative of everybody who has been tuning in and who's been supporting me. This has been lovely. But anyways, Brian, the Leafs guy, out. Until next time.